Every year, tens of thousands of people visit the New Forest, drawn by its natural beauty, rich history, and of course the famous New Forest ponies. But as they explore this unique landscape, few realise the crucial role the New Forest played in the Second World War. Behind the tranquil scenery lies a remarkable wartime past. During the Second World War, the New Forest was home to 12 military airfields that bustled with thousands of service personnel from all over the world.
This is the Heritage Centre of the Friends of New Forest Airfields, built in 2016. It was part of the actual RAF Sopley camp, which closed in 1974. And eventually it was turned into a housing estate. The Heritage Centre was designed to actually commemorate the people that served on the airfields during the Second World War and actually aviation before that time. Aviation has been in the New Forest since 1910. It has artefacts, models, interactive screens to let people find out about who were on the airfields of New Forest, what they did, and also the wider community in the area, how they supported these airfields and what happened.
I was born in 1936. I grew up in Somerford during the war. To the south of Somerford Road, part of a large area was devoted to Christchurch Airfield. And that whole area in those days was countryside, from Muddyford Beach northwards, part over the area where Christchurch Airfield was, through Somerford, then across Somerford Road and north to the Southern Railway line, with fields and agricultural land, which was one big playground for us kids.
Aircraft filled the skies, flying back and forth on their missions. Military trucks and jeeps were everywhere, at almost every turn. The airfields included RAF Beaulieu, Biston and Ibsley, Stony Cross and Holmesley, Herne and Christchurch, and others, all pivotal in the build-up to D-Day and beyond.
We realised that we were going to have to actually defend this island against the Germans, and also we were going to actually go on the offensive to attack France, to reclaim the land taken by the Germans. The Air Ministry looked at what they needed to do, and they looked to the New Forest, a fairly large area, very flat, so the possibilities of building airfields there attracted them. So they moved in to start building airfields. One built at Beaulieu was mainly used to actually protect our convoys because that was the lifeline to the country.
Well, there were 12 airfields in the New Forest area, all within about 10 miles radius of where we are today. And Christchurch was exceptional in that it was the only airfield that was there before the war. The airfield had the airspeed aircraft factory there, which from the early stages of the war built Horsa gliders and Oxford trainers, and later on Mosquito fighters and Mosquito fighter bombers. In addition to the airspeed activity, there was an organisation there responsible for the early development of airborne radar, including centrometric radar, which technically was a major breakthrough in the early part of the war and transformed air-to-air activity against the Germans. In addition to the radar development, there was HMS Raven, which was a naval operation modifying and putting radar equipment onto Fleet Air Arm aircraft.
The strategic location of the New Forest made it an ideal base for Allied forces. Thousands of troops and aircraft prepared for the invasion of Normandy here. The aircraft were used for anti-submarine patrols, fighter bomber duties, and transporting troops and supplies.
So later on, the Americans arrived with temporary airfields to set up for D-Day because they realised that forces would need support actually for D-Day. So we had temporary airfields that were set up just for a short period of time, turned up in September 1943, built them. Most of the time actually the forces arrived in April 44 and had gone by July 44.
The sky every day was full of aeroplanes. There would be Horsa gliders being towed around the area, doing test flight, I guess, being towed either by a Whitley bomber or later on in the war by a Halifax. And they would be doing circuits literally all day long. And later on, of course, in the war, when the Americans arrived for D-Day, you'd look up in the sky and there'd be thunderbolts roaring around, coming in to land.
New Forest would have been very busy at that time. If you think about it, the local ALG to where we are in Sopley, there was 1,000 servicemen there, 26 Thunderbolt fighters. There were many other airfields like that around the New Forest. The forces from New Zealand, Canada, America, Australia. We also had European nations, the Poles, Czechoslovakians, serving as their own individual nations, but also serving within the RAF. We also had many people that came from abroad to support during the Second World War, people from Barbados, British Guyana, even Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka. It must have been very strange to the local people to have all these different nationalities in the area, especially at this time where actually travel worldwide wasn't very common. But the New Forest people just seem to have embraced all these people, taken them to their hearts, because a lot of the airmen were actually billeted in private individual houses.
It was in July, just second week of July, the war was over, and a B-17 Fortress flew in from an airport in Bedfordshire, bringing US Air Force personnel to Bournemouth for the weekend. And they had decided that they would land on the runway at Christchurch, the runway which had been built for the D-Day, the Thunderbolts, and unfortunately got it wrong. Went through the end of the runway and finished up belly up in a field in Muddyford. It was guarded by an armed patrol for 2 days only, and then us kids were just allowed on the thing. And I can remember clambering in there, going through, walking past the gun bay, through the bomb bay, and sitting up in the pilot's seat, working the controls, pulling the joystick and lifting all the levers, flying a Super Fortress, aged 8.5. Absolute heaven.
I think it's very important to keep the heritage of past generations alive, because I believe it's only due to their sacrifices that we're able to enjoy the world that we have now. And the idea of these artifacts and these models are actually to tell the stories of people. And most of these men actually were in their 20s, young men that were willing to sort of sacrifice their lives for our country, really. For example, RAF Winkton, which is now Sopley Pick Your Own, Hal Shook was one of the squadron commanders there. So at 23, he was in charge of actually 26 Thunderbolts and 1,000 airmen, really. Squadron leader Carver was only 26 when he was shot down and killed for Mibsley, really. Also for Mibsley, one of the youngest pilots ever in the RAF. Apparently he lied about his age. He was only 17. His mother told on him, but by that time he's taken off and unfortunately didn't come back from his mission, really. The only medal of honour to be awarded to a pilot of a B-26 was Captain Lindsay, and he flew from Holmesley South, and he held his plane steady while his crew bailed out, knowing actually that he would not be able to come out as well, and he was only in his early 20s. They were very young, but they knew what they were doing.
At the same time, was I growing up and having a time of my life with all the aeroplanes, I had 4 elder brothers all fighting in the war, including my eldest brother, who was a Royal Marine Commando, first ashore on Sword Beach on D-Day. I wish I could be able to tell you of his experiences, but he never, ever talked about his experience in the war. But I think that summed up the way things were. You had an 8-year-old kid having the time of his life, the other end of the family being threatened with death every day of the week. And that is why, not only from my own family point of view, but reading the history of that period, it's just so essential that we don't let it go and keep doing what we're doing, telling the kids about it, because certainly my experience in talking with the local school children, they are interested. They want to know about what was going on. And I think it's our responsibility to ensure that we do our best to help them. Well, one of the good things that's happened just recently is that the local schools have had World War II included in their curriculum. And as a consequence, there's been more interest, not only from the children's point of view, but from the teachers. And I've had the good fortune to be invited to 5 of the local schools and found the kids incredibly receptive and interested in my stories, particularly when I talk about the bombs that we had, not very many. We had a bomb in the playground at the school. Some of my friends were disappointed it missed the school, but we had a lovely bomb crater to play in. And where I lived in Somerford on one occasion, we had a very big bomb there that did a lot of damage to our house, blew windows in and doors. And these are the stories that I would be able to tell the children, and the children I find very receptive. And noticeably, I had one lovely big thank you card from the children at Burton School, where about 10 of them had done lovely coloured pictures of their interpretation of my talk. And without fail, every picture had a bomb and a bomb crater in it.
As well as the Heritage Centre, the Friends of New Forest Airfields also look after the Airfields Memorial, located at Holmesley South, where the airfield once stood.
Like most good things, actually, the memorial was an idea done by 3 blokes in a pub in the 3 Tons in Branscombe, who felt actually there should be a memorial to the 12 airfields of the New Forest. From there, they formed the charity, the Friends of New Forest Airfield, collected funds, and luckily one of the founder members of this group was Mr. Bernard Bailey, who was a builder and virtually built the memorial, which was opened in 2002 with a flypast by the Red Arrows. FOMFA has maintained that memorial ever since, and each year we hold an annual service to remember all those who served on the airfields. We invite local dignitaries and representatives of all the armed forces.
The memorial at Holmesley, you're actually standing on the ground of one of the operational aerodromes where hundreds of the people left that aerodrome never to return.
It's a nice service, we have a nice padre. It's a sort of relaxed atmosphere. Because in the New Forest, we have the New Forest ponies turn up today. People come with their families, the service people, as well as actually the visitors. And I find that it's very gratifying to see those people there, honouring these people. And most people, new people that came this year, found our service deeply moving.
The thing that strikes me is how the interest amongst the military people is continuing. There are all these senior officers, male and female, there with their uniforms, coming along to represent the services which they're part of and record their memories of what went on all those years ago. And I can certainly relate to their presence when this is going on, that you really do feel that a band of brothers and sisters there doing their utmost to make sure that the world doesn't forget the price that so many people paid back in those days.